Okay, great. We're gonna just give it a minute for folks to join. Oh, we got 5 people. If you're joining, why don't you drop in the chat where you're calling in from? And I think for the folks, Manny, Burger, Monica, you might not see the chat, so it might feel a little weird, but I will read what's coming in.
Someone's from Detroit.
Oh, you do see it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Monica.
I wanted to get it started, so I just.
Okay, cool. We're gonna go live here. Okay, we have Jasmine from Dallas. Thank you, Jasmine, for participating. Okay. Cool. So we're gonna get started. We have a couple of people watching live. We're live on TikTok, and hopefully, if you're watching the recording, you're still around. So today we are going to talk to these 3 amazing grads that are joining us. My name is Maka. This is Michelle. She's one of our career advisors. I'm the founder of Avocademy. And we're here to really share y'all's questions over to our grads and hear about y'all's story and your journey to becoming designers. Let's get started by having you all each share your name, pronouns, and what you were doing before you decided to switch into UX design. Burger, why don't you get us started?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Maka. Well, my name's Burger. I am here from San Francisco. Before I became a UX designer, I worked in marketing and graphic design for a pretty large company, but I didn't super love it, and I really needed a change, something that gave me more freedom and more, I could design more. So I switched over, found Avocademy, and I was like, yeah, no, this is what I want to be doing. And it's been a whirlwind experience since then.
Awesome. Monica, do you want to share?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. I'm Monica. I go by she, her. And so I originally come from real estate, new construction, which is very hectic, as I'm sure everybody's heard. I really didn't want to be at the beck and call anymore, so I parted ways. And in between finding Avocademy and leaving that position, I also started a wedding planning and coordinating business. So side job, but passion project. And then once I found Avocademy, it kind of shifted my framework in my mind and challenged myself to enter a new field.
Awesome.
Manny, go for it.
Hi, everybody. I'm Manny. My pronouns are he, him. And I'm originally from Argentina, and my background is basically in graphic design, art direction, anything related to digital design. When I moved to the US, the struggle for me was I was already in my mid-30s, and I had plenty of experience in my field, but starting a career, building a career in a different country with even I have experience, it wasn't hard. It wasn't easy for me to be able to share it and talk with new employers about the companies that I work for. So I was kind of struggling. I always wanted to get into UX design, and even my experience in web design prior to this was not enough because I didn't even have a portfolio for that case. So found Avocademy and said, well, these people might help me, and they did.
And Manny, you forgot to add your short stint as a YouTuber as well.
As a YouTuber during the pandemic, yeah, I couldn't get a job. I was actually waiting for my green card, so I was just stuck at home, and I did a few videos on YouTube. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you all for sharing a little bit about your background. Let's just go over some quick timelines as to you decided to take the jump. You decided to start learning UX. You joined Avocademy's programs. When did you start the foundations program, right, which is our first step? When did you start Career Jumpstart? And then when did you find a job? And if you don't remember exact dates, maybe like estimate dates of how long the whole process took. But we really just want to be transparent, right, about the learning phase and then the job search phase.
Okay, well, I'll go. I started Career Jumpstart in February of 2023. So the whole process, I did a little bit more than 2 months to finish up foundations, and then I pretty quickly decided to do Career Jumpstart. After that, I can't remember the exact date. During Career Jumpstart, I worked on about 4 projects, led one. It's a great experience. But the overall timeline, I would say, was about a year from the time that I started foundations to getting a position. And I actually start my new role in like a week. So it's kind of
Nice. Congrats.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
I guess I can go. So I chose to do foundations, obviously, again, because I don't have a background in any type of design. So foundations, I believe I started like end of April 2023, finished around July, because throw in like vacations and stuff. I really had to make a decision if I wanted to like invest in myself and if Career Jumpstart was worth it. And I made that decision that it was. So Career Jumpstart started for me in October. Started phase 3, and then it took me about 2.5 weeks to start the interview process with one company, and I was hired about a week and a half later.
Nice.
Yeah. Very, very fast.
Very
fast from your end.
That
Yes.
was very quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forgot to mention my job search took about 4 months.
Yeah, we'll summarize this. So I think Berker, you were 4 months for job search, Monica, like less than a month, right?
Yeah.
On your end. And then Manny, if you want to answer, we're already
Yeah.
getting some questions in the chat, so we'll start highlighting those once Manny's done sharing his journey.
So I started with foundations. For me, it was very similar to Berger. I started in about February 2023, and I finished it within like in June, and I was like so excited. I wanted to do CJ, and I started CJ right after that, and I got my my first offer in early mid-December because I started like interviewing, and the interview process was like almost a month, and I started my new position in January 8th.
Nice, congrats. So can you just repeat the total time from when you started job searching till you found a job?
It was about from job search. It took me about 2 months, I think. I was very lucky because I have been like looking for a job for like a full year before Avocademy, and it took about 2 months since I started looking for since I started my job search.
Nice. That's great. Thank you all for sharing. So I think we have like a couple of different experiences, right? From like under a month, a couple of months, up to 4 months here. Why don't you all share a little bit about the experience job searching, right? I think folks, sometimes when they think about a career change, they think, get rich quick, or they think like, if I just pay this money and join this course, I will get a job. And we know that that's not the truth, right? Like we can teach you what you need to know. We can help you get some real world experience through our projects. And then we can cheerlead you on through the job search. But the job search is pretty hard, and it is like a roller coaster of emotions. You're excited at first, you apply to a bunch of jobs, you get a couple of rejections, you get down, it goes up and down, especially when it takes, a little bit longer, or like Manny, if you've been searching for a job, right, for over a year before then. Share a little bit about your experience in searching for the job, like how you felt, and then like what things helped you kind of keep going.
Well, in my case, like the whole search was pretty much fueled by PTSD. Because like I told before, it was just a full year of like job search and little to no response. And I was like, what am I doing wrong? I do have the experience. The little response I get, they're saying, I like your resume, I like your portfolio. So when I started with the job search, first of all, when we were getting ready to do everything, like getting the resume, setting up the accounts on all the different platforms, I was like, okay, I've done this. I know how to do it. And I was like, it was just frustrating, not from the Avocademy side, but mostly about the fact that I was doing that already and again and again and again. So it was, the whole search was, like you said, it's always hard and very frustrating. You feel like sometimes you want to give up, but you keep doing it and doing it, and eventually you get responses.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, again, my time was shorter, and I know that I was in a very fortunate position because I wasn't currently working full time. So I had the time allocation to really put in the work and make sure that I was doing, the coursework on top of applying for jobs, on top of responding to recruiter emails, and just making sure that everything's up to date. I think something that really helped me, well, two things is that I also have an acting background, so I'm used to rejection. So I think, unfortunately, maybe I've already kind of developed like a very thin but exterior armor towards that. It's awful, regardless if you have that armor or not. So you're definitely not alone in that. And then I think I also had to find what schedule worked best for me. So again, even though I had the time to dedicate to applying to jobs, it can be super overwhelming. So I had to figure out that, I wasn't going to apply to jobs every single day. I was going to spread it out, kind of do it in like bulk applies, and then give myself time to decompress and kind of let those funnel through. And then at the same time, of course, you're still like getting those rejection emails. So again, just taking time for yourself. If and when you do CJ and you do those client projects, really rely on your cohorts. I think that support and finding those people that know what you're going through is so important, just for your overall mental health. So
I just want to add, I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm still getting rejection emails. Like even this morning, I got one.
Yeah, no, same.
doesn't stop.
Still coming in. Yeah. I mean, my job search, I feel like was filled with ups and downs. It's sort of like what Maka was mentioning was like the first month I was so excited, and it was like every day I was like putting out 20, 30 applications like constantly, and like, getting just rejection after rejection after rejection. And I even in my past career, when I was working in marketing graphic design, I was a manager and I was like on a senior level. So I was already pretty far up in my career. I used to practice, I did interview people. That was like part of my role in my past career. So I do have a lot of experience with that, public speaking, giving presentations. So I'm like, I knew I had this experience to bring to the table. I'm like, I have 10 years of managerial experience, graphic design experience. I've designed websites. And now, with this professional certificate. So why are people saying like, oh, we don't think you're the right fit? And, with probably never even looking at my portfolio. So it was pretty demoralizing to get that kind of rejection. But I just kept telling myself, I was like, I only just need that one yes. And like, I know I'm good enough. And I know that the people who actually succeed in this job search, because it is hard. If it was easy, everybody would do it, but it's not. It's something that's really tough. So I just kept going and doing the process, and until eventually, I got my win, and it really made everything feel really validating. And I'm very proud of myself, and my partner is amazingly proud of me, and all that. So my recommendation is to just stick with it. And as far as things that I did to make myself feel better throughout the process, or just to help my mental health, I'm a big camper. I like being outside. So anytime I felt too stressed, I would just packed up my backpack and went out to the mountains and sat by a lake. Or I also I run on the side. I'm a carpenter, and I do find like furniture and mid-century stuff. So I would just go in the garage or my workshop and just be like, I'm going to sand the hell out of this table today or whatever. Just like make a weird joint. So just like physical things that would help me get my creativity out really, really helped. Yeah.
I think thank you all for sharing. I think definitely right. The job market has changed, and it does take a lot more effort to find roles. And on top of that, just like changing careers is a whole identity shift. It's whole right, like change in how you see yourself. You feel like an imposter sometimes. You feel like you're capable. You've learned so much. You've put so much time into this portfolio, into learning the skill, and then you go through you start going through this interview process, and it's just like rejections, or you don't have enough experience, and when you're in it, it feels terrible. But then you get out of it, right? And like Berger, you have a senior designer role. So all those people that told you weren't good enough for the junior roles, and now you have at a super well-known company a senior design role, right? Yeah. So it's interesting how how different it could feel while you're in the process. And then once you're out of it, you're like, yeah, it was just 4 months, it's fine, right? But like, it was rough while you're going through it. But let's quickly shift into what does success look like. So why don't you all share your current roles or the roles you're about to start? Berger, maybe you don't have too much to share because you're starting next week, but what does it look like at your current job? How has your life changed? What does that look like? And then Monica, why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, for sure. So as you can see, my title technically is a visual designer. However, I would say that that is encompassed hugely by UX and UI principles in that JD. I would definitely just stick to reading the JD for each job because the titles could vary so drastically between each company. Monica, I just totally blanked. What else did you ask for?
Oh, how has your life changed? Is this role everything you expected it to be? Was it worth kind of, the learnings and the education and the portfolio? How are things different now?
Okay, sorry.
No, you're good.
Things are kind of what I expected and then completely not what I expected at all. So I'm technically a consultant and I was hired through a recruiter. Everything just is not what I expected, which probably is for the better, right? Because I mean, I'm brand new to this field. This is my first job in UX, so I'm super grateful. And everything's just about learning. Like I just want to continuously learn, whether it's how not to do things, how to do things, what I like, what I prefer. This job gives me flexibility in what my possibilities are because it is a contract. So if I find something that I don't like and I don't want to continue with the company I'm at, I could find something else. Or hopefully I will get extended at that company and continue to really establish myself and grow there. Obviously, money is nice. So that's something different. Every field comes with its pros and cons, right? And then I think for the most part, I've also learned that most people are willing to teach newer people, and they're also willing to learn from everybody, no matter someone's experience or status within that company, which I think is great. And as I've gotten older, because like Manny, I am in my 30s, I want an inclusive environment where I can grow not only professionally, but personally.
Mm-hmm.
So
awesome. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Manny?
Okay, so in my case, I'm 40, by the way. I turned 40 in December. So,
Manny,
Happy birthday.
Give us 1 second. You're frozen on my end. Give me 1 minute. Do you all see him, or is it?
Yeah, no, it glitched.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, can you hear me now?
We can hear you. We'll do audio. Go for it.
Okay. So yeah, in my case, everything changed almost exactly how I wanted. Not everything, because obviously I'm in a, like Monica said, it's all new for us. When I decided to go for the switch, I was working as a photography manager at a footwear company. I always worked in either entertainment or anything related to retail and stuff like that. And I was like very undervalued, underpaid. I got tired of it and I wanted to make the switch. And obviously, I was looking for something that somehow related to the industries that I work for. And well, in my name here, it says LTI Mindtree, which is a consulting agency. I'm working for Citibank right now. That's my client. And I was terrified when they told me that. I never worked in fintech, and they selected me because one of my CJ projects have like a lot of like forms and charts and stuff like that. So it's like, okay, if I could do it with for CJ, I can do it here. Mm-hmm. And so I've been working like almost. I mean, I'm hired by a different company, but I'm working as a Citibank employee. With my team is everybody hired from Citibank, and it's been great. I mean, I'm learning like the first I was gonna say the first month was like absolutely terrifying because I thought I wasn't gonna be able to do anything. But everybody has been like really nice, and just the fact that I was undervalued in my last job just got me into this like submissive position that I wasn't expecting to be like treated like equally and respected.
Mhm.
So I'm doing great. I'm working 100% remote, and every time I just log into work, I'm excited, even though I still have no idea of half the things that we're doing because I'm still getting familiar with the product.
Mhm.
It's exciting and it's fun.
Nice.
That's awesome.
We can't see you anymore, but I'm really excited, and I can hear a smile on your face.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm smiling. Yes.
Yeah. Berger, I don't know if you have anything to add. I know you're starting your job next week, but yeah, feel free to add.
Yeah, I mean, I could just talk a little bit about like my my transition. So like, my past work, it was like Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. I always worked in an office, and I had a manager who literally was the definition of a manager, very micromanagey. Actually, made you walk up to her desk to say, "Hi, I'm here for the day." And I was like, I couldn't deal with it anymore, and that was one of the reasons I decided to make this jump, because I did want more flexibility, freedom, and a remote role. So the role that I ended up landing, this senior experience designer for Rcoket, was literally a dream because it was everything that I wanted. It was like a remote role, working with a team that I've already met, I've been talking to, and we get along great. They've already started kind of mentoring me on the program and like things to come. Yeah, it's just I'm super excited to be able to say that I, like a success, like I was able to get everything that I wanted. And they chose me for the role from my CJ projects because I've worked mostly on mobile platforms, and I got hired to work on the mobile team for their application.
Awesome.
And so they were very excited about my projects. They really liked what they saw there. So really make your case study stand out is like really what I'm trying to say, and definitely have a, when you're doing your portfolio walkthroughs, really drive home like your design decisions. Don't just like regurgitate what you wrote on the page. Like talk about what you did and what you thought, because that's what they're interested in.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's great feedback, and I love how you. I think two of you mentioned like you were hired because of what was on your portfolio, and sometimes I think when people join the Career Jumpstart program, they're like, I only want to do an education thing, or I only want to do a healthcare thing. And then, you end up at another project or you select another project, and it's that like random project about fintech, right? That gets you the job at Citibank, or the random mobile app that in the moment you thought, I didn't want to do this. I want to do the web, right? That gets you the job. So that's awesome. And then can you all share how many CJ projects you did? I think Berger, you said 4. 4, Monica?
I did 2.
2, and then Manny?
I did too.
2. Okay, cool. Yeah, I would highly, I think, I think we have some CJ students, some foundations grads in the chat. If you're all watching, I would encourage you to do as many as possible, because it's those CJ projects that help you stand out as you're interviewing. We're gonna jump here to some of the chat questions. Can someone clarify role levels? Junior, mid, senior, for the most part. I'll take this question, and then you all can add if you'd like. Role levels, just like job description, like Monica was saying, completely vary by company, right? For one company, a junior role can be with someone with 2 years of experience. For another company, a junior role is someone with 0 years of experience. Same thing with mid or senior. Like just recently, we were working with a recruiter, and they sent us a mid-level role with 10 years of experience, which to me, I was like, that's not a mid-level role. Like that's not actually what you're asking for. So the role, the levels, in my opinion, don't matter, just like the titles don't matter. It's really about like trying to understand what the company's looking for and seeing if you're able to provide that, right? Whether it's managing other people, managing yourself, managing your time, and then whether it's doing UX or UI or more visual stuff. But I don't know if anybody else has anything to add on that.
In my case, it's a little confusing because I have as a employee for a consulting agency, and also for the client, the roles are completely different. So for Citibank, I'm a UX designer. For LTI Mindtree, I'm specialist in interactive, and they both say there's like a semi-senior or starting. So it depends, and actually they don't even use the roles. They just call you for what you are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's funny, you have two role titles, but you do one job, right? So
Right, exactly.
yeah. I have one other questions here from Christina. They're asking, how many people are on your teams? How is the hierarchy laid out? Yeah, let's. It's a long paragraph. So, how many people are on your teams, and how is the hierarchy laid out? Let's start with that. Monica.
Yeah, so my team at Tavant is actually pretty small. It's just me and then my design lead. So very clearly laid out. He comes from UX, I think like over 25 years. So he's very experienced. And then my project manager, and then we just keep on going to the higher up. So for my team, not that complicated. Most of them come from a project management or UX background.
In my
What about you,
case,
Burger or Manny?
my company, it's so they're very strong on Scrum methodologies, so they have to keep the teams under 10 members. And so we have like the Scrum master, we have the VP and the product owner, and everybody else is either a developer or UX designer. So it's just a very reduced team still.
Nice. And then
Yeah.
Burger, I don't know if you know any info about the team, but
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I'm working on a team of 5. So we have one junior designer, and then I was hired on to be the senior designer. We have a UX copywriter, and our program manager, and then there's the creative director.
awesome.
Yeah.
The second part of this question was around your background. So the question says, I think you all said that you had some sort of tech background. I have a lot of hospitality and hotel sales in my resume. Are you seeing any other team members that come from varied background, or is it mostly tech?
Burger, you want to take it?
Monica, you go.
I saw you shaking your head. So I actually don't have any tech in my background. So I'm probably more like you, Christina. I come from a very customer service oriented working career or professional career. I think through my interview process, the thing that I really just rode to death is my experience as a team lead on a CJ project, and then also just being part of the CJ project. So I really didn't highlight any of my non-UX related history. Yeah, I hope that answers that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I don't know personally for my team members. I know for me personally, I didn't always have a career in tech. Like I started off, my first job ever was working in a roller skating rink, and then I became a waitress, and then I got a job working for like a catering company where I eventually moved up the ranks and got into marketing and graphic design. So like I kind of had a slow transition to tech, but I didn't start off that way. So you don't need to have a background in any of this stuff.
In my case, I do have experience and my background started in tech. My first job as a designer was for a gaming company, so I was like familiar with how the workflow and an office is. But at the same time, honestly, ever since I started this, I haven't used any of my background so far in my new job. So everything that I thought was going to be an advantage for me, I honestly haven't been able to use it yet because I've been doing like a lot of wireframes, a lot of like planning and things that I learned on my UX studies, like during Avocademy, not things that I took with me from my previous experience.
Yeah, and we really actually don't see any like direct correlation between people that had like a graphic design background or a marketing background into getting jobs faster or at any higher rate than people that didn't have a background, right? And I think like perfect example, Monica, no tech background, found a job the fastest, right? Out of the three of you here, Burger, marketing background, right? Manny,
Yeah, 4 months.
design background. It almost like, it can play to your advantage if you have some sort of design background, but sometimes it ends up hindering you a little bit because now you have 10 years of design experience, but when you're talking about a UX job, you don't necessarily have 10 years of UX design experience. So you're like too qualified for junior roles, not qualified enough for senior roles. And I'm saying this with air quotes because like it depends on who's qualifying, who is qualified for the role. But sometimes it puts you in a little bit of an area. I think people with industry expertise can really use that to their advantage. And a skill that when I'm working one-on-one with folks, I push for is like, if you have this, so for Christina, the example here, hospitality and hotel sales experience, it's like Google, like startup unicorns, which means they're valued more than $1 billion in the hospitality industry in 2024, right? And then you find a list of all these startups which are valued high, which means they probably have money for hiring. And you start doing outreach and say, hey, I have background in this industry. I'm a UX designer. Are you hiring any designers for your team, right? And trying to find similarities in the industry so that you can find a design role in a company that is in an industry you have experience in. So then you're the subject matter expert and like a new designer, but you know what they're talking about in the industry. And we see that technique work often in there. But we have another question here from Kat. What's a good way to add more projects to my portfolio once I'm not able to do any more CJ projects? Has anybody done any projects, additional projects outside of CJ? Burger, yeah.
I have like for free been redoing an application and a website for a music festival called Hardly Strictly Bluegrass in San Francisco. It's a really big music festival, so I've been doing that project and like trying to write my own kind of case study around it. And it's been pretty good. I'm almost done with it.
Yeah, and I think what I'll add, there's a website called catchafire.org. Really good website. A lot of nonprofits post opportunities there that are typically for free, unpaid. But you're able to find nonprofits that align with maybe hopefully something you care about, and you're able to then kind of keep working on your skills, but while helping a nonprofit or an organization that you can align with. So yeah.
I had projects. I remember back when I met you, we talked about this. I had like previous projects that were in my portfolio, and I didn't know how to merge them exactly. And well, after like talking with you, and I started like adding my case study because I did have the whole project, a full branding for a client, and I had absolutely nothing written as a case study. So I started writing my case study, and it was never added to my portfolio because I found my job like right in the middle of that.
Yeah, you're definitely able to volunteer and find folks or early stage startups that want some pro bono work. But again, I think I would highly encourage anyone that is in CJ right now or is joining CJ to do as many projects as possible. I think recently we've changed it, so once you've got in the rhythm of the job search around month 2. We really push you to do a 3rd project, and then we really push you to do a 4th project so that you keep your design skills fresh. You're getting a little bit more of that leadership skill, and you're really kind of working through that experience, and you have more to talk about in your interviews.
I would say that project that I'm working for the nonprofit music festival, I had to learn new skills to do that, which actually was a benefit to me. Like I actually had to learn like how to write HTML to do like cool animations and things that they wanted. And I took like other courses like to fix up my UX skills and visual design skills. So like I would say like if you do have the opportunity to like keep working on projects or do something like that, it's a really great opportunity to improve your skills.
Yeah, something else we hear about too is like folks start their jobs, and CJ projects are so fast paced that they start their jobs and people are like a little bored. They're like, I expected to have more work. And I'm like, go
Yep.
outside, like pick up a hobby. I don't know, like start doing something. But for folks, we actually recommend like finding a side project or something else if the job is not like super demanding. There's a question here asking about where to find maybe like lower level jobs is the exact question being asked. And I think maybe we'll broaden this question and we'll say, where were you looking for jobs when you were applying for jobs? Like what websites or what was your technique for looking for jobs?
Yeah.
I know that we were supposed to like diversify platforms and try to use as many as we could and everything. In my case, the one that I was using the most because it was giving me better results was LinkedIn. But then again, originally on my first job search, LinkedIn was like the worst for me. So I was hopping from one to another. I used a lot of Indeed. At some point, ZipRecruiter was the one that was working better for me. And eventually I landed on LinkedIn because I was getting responses. And I was approached by a recruiter. I didn't even apply for the job that I have right now. So yeah, keep going on all of them. And
Yeah.
I would say, the one that I had the most success with was LinkedIn as well. When I first started off, it didn't feel that way. I was getting more interviews from a website called Otta, OTTA. I know a lot of people haven't heard of that one, but they post like new jobs daily, and it would like remind you if you hadn't seen one. So I think I got like 4 interviews from companies from that website alone, and then from Google searches. Also referencing back to all of those recruiter job listing sites that Avo gives you. I made a point, like I had an alert on my calendar to go onto those sites once a week to apply and to update my resume. And I'm still getting like 10 calls a day from recruiters. But yeah, the job that I actually did get, I didn't actually apply for. I was reached out to by a recruiter on LinkedIn.
Nice. So optimizing that LinkedIn profile is
it's really
yeah.
I would say that my primary was Dice, actually, but I don't remember how it was initially found from the recruiters, but that kind of also became a primary source for me. And even if the recruiters didn't think I would be a good fit, I always made a point to stay in contact with them or really emphasize that, like, if they think I qualify for anything else, like I would love to hear more, or just keep that communication chain open, because that's how I got my job. So recruiters can also be very valuable, even if they make the whole process a little extra step worth.
Yeah, and I think that's why we're always pushing Dice and Indeed and like uploading that resume as often as possible, because that's when you show up on those recruiter searches, right? Like super high up. And that's how sometimes they find you and then message you on LinkedIn or of those websites. It's those recruiter uploads that then they can search through.
I think I got more traction by re-updating my resume rather than just applying to jobs. That's why when I saw most traction in my site, at least.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And uploading, like if you have the chance to, uploading first thing in the morning so you're at the top of their list,
yes,
can also be really valuable.
Yeah, we try to push that a lot in CJ. We even got a recruiter Dice account so we can see when the last time y'all's profiles are updated. Yeah. But awesome. I think we're out of questions here in the chat. So oops, that was not what I wanted to do. We're out of questions here in the chat. I think we'll do one wrap-up question, and that's really like, if you had one piece of advice for somebody that has not yet started their learning process in UX design, but they're considering a change into UX design, what would be that piece of advice that you would want to share with them?
Be kind to yourself. Yeah. Just be gracious and put your best foot forward. One of the biggest feedbacks that I get from anyone that I work with is my positive attitude. I don't really get stressed. And if I do get stressed, you won't know. So, I mean, that's a really great way to look at any kind of project that you do. It's like you want people to want to work with you, and that's how you're going to land your job and transition and hopefully get a good job because people want to work with you. So just be kind to yourself, de-stress, do things you love, and make the jump. I don't know.
Yeah, I love that. I would also kind of, to tack on to that, is invest in yourself. Because it can set up your entire future or give you opportunities and you didn't think that you would ever come across, or just give yourself the confidence in yourself that you can take on hard things and you can do hard things.
Hell yeah, you can, Monica. Hell yeah.
Yeah, we are all insecure. We all have imposter syndrome. That's something that we all go through. But if that's one thing that's stopping you, is actually it's the worst thing that can happen. You have to do it, and the moment that you take the leap and you start going, and you'll see a change.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you all. Thank you all for joining today, for the words of wisdom you've shared, and about sharing your experience. I think that's it. Thank you all for joining. Thank you, the folks that are watching live. We're gonna wrap up here. Thank you, everybody.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.